What's good, everybody? RJ Sheldon here, back with another episode of Off the Top Show. BD Boys, as you see on the screen here. I got my good brother James Muenchow, aka Jimmer. What's happening, man?
Oh, brother, it was a day today. Don't get into the specifics of what we do with our personal lives on this day, but boy, oh boy, Jimmer had himself a day today in a way where he's a little on edge. So to take off that edge, I thought I'd bring some stuff here before we get the show going. Okay, I'm ready. All right, that was good. But
Love it.
We're ready to go. What are we talking about today?
Man, let's go ahead and hop right into it. You already know what we talk about. We talk about Wisconsin sports here. Let's hop right into it. Packers, huge news. Jaire Alexander. We were thinking that he wasn't going to be on the squad. He was going to go ahead and tinker with free agency, maybe go to a different squad. Packers proposed a restricted contract to Jaire today. I mean, looking at it, he wants to remain. Well, from what I'm reading, there's a lot of sources that come out. We don't know until it actually pen hit paper. He says out of his mouth, the Packers say he's coming back for another season. If you want my honest opinion, I think this is a great fit for him. And if the Packers are proposing this to Jaire Alexander, it means something to him. And I think that, if you're looking at it like, all right, this is do or die. Like, this is my last time. Whatever happens, the Packers like, all right. And he's like, well, let's do it. If not, he can go test waters. But realistically, I think the Packers right now, for whatever they're trying to do for a year, if not, maybe two, I think this is a good situation. But I liked what I was reading, though, from his articles. I think he's going to stay here. Talk to me about this situation and kind of how you look at it when you first saw it.
Well, it's a proposed restructure deal. Everyone goes, oh, we'll get Jaire for cheaper. I guarantee it's a contract that's based on not only performance, but how much are you playing? We're not going to pay you $17.5 million to play 8 games. Like, it's just how it's going to be. So, and he's kind of been that. I don't like calling players like fakers or, like, I'm not playing, I'm hurt, when they have like a little knock and, because they're unhappy with the situation. I mean, he had a PCL injury last year. That's something to worry about. That's something he tried to go. I mean, you got to give your tip of the cap to him. He tried to go, but it's a restructured deal. It has not been accepted yet. It's a really interesting situation because you're getting reports of he's staying. Like, oh, I've talked to his camp or whatever. My inside sources say this. Well, then you got other people. My inside sources say he still wants to leave. So we really don't know what's going on. The only people that know what's going on is Jaire Alexander, Brian Gutekunst, and whoever else is in that room, and probably Matt LaFleur. And they're probably keeping this really close to the chest because they want to keep their leverage. So what I see is they're restructuring the contract. Sure, yeah, you keep them. You could bring in some more guys. Or is it? We've tried to trade you to 31 teams. Nobody wants your deal. So if you really want out, you're going to have to take this deal. Nobody is going to take your $17.5 million contract. So if you really want out, you're going to have to help yourself on this one. Take this deal, which helps XYZ, these teams, a lot of teams that maybe you've given us. It'll help their cap situation. Then we can get players back, XYZ. It may not be the, hey, you want to lower your money because you're not playing as much. Maybe we could get some more guys in here, try to win you a Super Bowl, get you a ring. It might be hey, if you still want out, we'll help you with that. You need to take less money because nobody's taking it. And if you're not happy with that, guess what? You're playing right here. And so then you look at it, he's now doing off-season program stuff, which you're like, again, very positive outlook. But at the same time, you're like, this guy turns one way and things go the other, and he gets hurt and his season's over. I've already seen 2 players that are done for the year by practicing in shorts and helmets. No pads, done for the year. If that happens to Jaire Alexander, he ain't taking no restructured deal. That's bye-bye. Give me my $17.5 million. I'll be here rehabbing. Like, y'all could have traded me. This could have been. And so this is a very, very weird and interesting situation. Yes, Green Bay has the staff in the secondary now where he doesn't have to play all the time. Or maybe it's like, okay, let's limit a snap count. Maybe he's not there on second down. Maybe some type of rotation, which sounds really, really odd and really, really stupid for a guy that's the top five corner in the league.
Right.
But he's a guy who has a Ferrari engine. But guess what? That Ferrari has a lot of miles in the shop right now, quite a bit. So you need to milk whatever prime is left of Jaire Alexander right now, which I can't believe that we're even talking about it. But like, it's hard to say he's in his prime because he's not playing. He is in his prime, but it's like the sample size we get. It's like, okay, when you play, you're great, but you're not playing. So this whole situation is still really, really interesting. Would I like to see Jaire in a Packers uniform? Absolutely. That's a stupid question to even ask yourself, especially with how Matt LaFleur has came out and said he wants his defensive play. He wants to play 4 underneath and 3 over the top. I don't think there's a better person to take away a quarter of the field than Jaire Alexander. You can't draw it up anybody because it's like Richard Sherman back in the day. A third of his field was taken away. You had to play 2/3 of the field, which is basically playing with one arm tied behind your back. So it's an interesting situation. Again, maybe they kiss and made up. Maybe now they're like, okay, let's just look at this deal and maybe we'll give you the $17.5 million, the full thing, but only if you play X amount of games. Or, we're not going to just do it like we did because you played 50% of the games the past 2 years. So it looks positive, but also the way my brain is kind of I looked at it from all sides. Maybe it's like, oh, we're restructuring because nobody is accepting his offer because nobody can take on that contract. So they're like, okay, maybe Green Bay is going to bite $5 million of that deal and lower it to 12. Like, we'll give you $5 million of a signing bonus up front. We'll restructure it. That way your cap hits lower for this year. Somebody can take it on. Something along those lines. So it's interesting. But again, we still have a whole summer to see this pan out. And again, he's at voluntary workouts, which is very, very interesting for a guy who at the end of the year, 4 months ago, didn't talk to media, said, I have nothing good to say. So I'm not going to say anything. So again, time heals. So maybe everybody just said, you know what, let's just take a month. Let's take 2 months. We'll reconvene and cooler heads prevailed. And maybe they're just getting something done. Maybe they're going, hey, Jack, let's try to get another pass rusher in here. Let's restructure your deal. Or hey, do you still want to leave? Yes. Okay. Let's think of ways to do that because, hey, we're running into this roadblock, So again, it looks positive, which again, I would like to see 23 on the field. But if you don't want to be there, man, he's going to do it. It looks like he's not going to do it the wrong way. He's not going to have a hold in. He's not going to throw a fit. If you do that, then I think he potentially still has another big money contract in him. So he doesn't want to ruin that opportunity. So he's got to go out there and show people what he can do. So we'll see. We still got a lot of time left. Camp starts in 2 months, end of August. So we're about 3 months out from camp starting and mini camp in July. And so we'll see. It was quite interesting today, though, that whenever you see somebody wanting to restructure, it looks positive. But this could also be we need to take this step to get rid of you because you still don't want to play here. So we're trying to help you accommodate that. Here's what we're running into, which also keeps Jaire Alexander happy as well. It doesn't make him think that Green Bay is making zero efforts to trade him. So maybe that is where he's like, oh, they're being really communicated with me. Maybe he's hung out with the boys over the summer and, maybe I don't want to leave anymore. Maybe I have some conversation with Jeff Hafley. we'll see. So, yeah, very interesting. Very interesting that popped up this year, or this today, when we were talking about what we were going to talk about Green Bay Packers with. So, we'll see.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
A lot of time left, a lot of ball game left in this story, a lot of chapters to be written in this story yet.
Yeah, no, I mean, you got to look at it too. Like, you saw videos of him when he was trying to go, and obviously it was just his knee was still lagging. He still wasn't fully healthy. And that's kind of just obviously both sides playing it the right way. Like, obviously, if you're from a front office standpoint, you want to have his value as much as possible if you do go ahead and want to get rid of him. And for him, it's the same thing with him. Like, he's got to look at it 2020 as well, even though it's a business to business. But we shall see, man. I just hope that we can get one more year, man. I would love to see one more year,
Yeah.
23. But we shall see.
Absolutely.
We shall see. Moving on over to the Brewers. They went ahead and at least got one against the Pirates. Yep, they got at least one against the Pirates. 2 out of 4.
2 out of 4.
Excuse me. They went ahead and got one against the Red Sox. It was always a good team. It was at home. It was yesterday. They play today as we are doing what we're doing right now. They play tomorrow. Hopefully they can go ahead and get above.
Yes.
Hopefully they can get over
500.
500.
They're at
so
27-28 right now. Kind of the same thing we talked about last week. I mean, a week isn't going to change anything. Yelich had a really good road trip in Pittsburgh. It seems like he's always played well against Pittsburgh. I feel like a lot of people play well against Pittsburgh, except they lost a game and a half in the NL Central standings. And it's not because they did anything wrong. I mean, they're still under 500, yes, but when we talked about it last week, they were 2 games below 500. Now they're 1. Chicago Cubs are just winning games. They have a run differential of plus 93. That is second in the MLB. Like, people need to realize that they have, and Pat Murphy said this when they played him earlier, Chicago Cubs have the best offense in the National League. And that's saying a lot when you look at what offenses are in the National League. When you got the Dodgers, you got the Phillies and the Mets. So it's tough because you have no room for error. So a couple positive things. Brandon Woodruff is still making starts in AAA. DL Hall, starting pitcher, came back yesterday for a 60 to 70 pitch outing. Aaron Savalle, same thing, 60 to 70 pitch outing. A little worrisome about DL Hall yesterday because they asked how he felt, and he said, physically, I did not feel good, which is always a worry when you're coming off injury.
Right.
But he said, I don't know if that just meant like he just didn't feel right with his pitches, or if he, stamina didn't feel good, or maybe his arm, where the arm didn't feel good. But he said, we went out there and we tried to execute best we can, and he got a W. So, I mean, you got to tip your cap to the guy for not feeling the greatest, but then kind of nutting through it and getting as much as he could out of that start. So, again, they're hurt. Their offense is underperforming, but it's not the first time we've said that the Milwaukee Brewers are underperforming as an offense. We've been saying that for the past 7 years. So if they can get healthy pitching-wise, when teams are in the dog days of July and August, Brewers might be the most healthy pitching staff because, yes, their guys didn't start from day one. They were rehabbing. And then if they get to full strength, they won't have as many innings on their arms as a lot of people will in July and August. So if they can get healthy, the tough days where it gets hot and guys are starting to get tired because there's a lot of miles on the legs, miles on the arms, and just the mental fatigue of playing day in, day out, 162-game schedule, Milwaukee Brewers might have a couple pitchers on the staff that are going, oh, we haven't pitched really that much this year. Now we're 100%, and now we're going to get into it. So that's the only thing I can maybe make light of this situation. But other than that, Jackson Churio had a bomb yesterday. It's good to always see him. doing positive things. Yelich again he had a really good road trip against the Pirates. So good to see him get going. Rhys Hoskins continues to swing a pretty good bat. His average is up to now 287. Again, the big key here is Christian Yelich. I mean, he is only hitting 205, but he leads the teams in home runs and he leads the teams in RBI. Like, imagine if he started getting going average-wise. Like, that's an all-star. That'd be an all-star type first halves, but he's not doing that. He's just struggling hitting for average. Joey Ortiz is still struggling as a everyday shortstop. The bat just isn't there. The fielding is average at best. Caleb Durbin is just surviving out there at third base. He does a lot of positive things. He's just a young player who got baptism by fire at third base because guess what? No one else is doing it. So William Contreras is starting to turn it around as well. Bryce Terang is starting to cool down a little bit, but I mean, he still has an on-base percentage of .339, so you can't really complain about that. Again, Sal Frelick still doing really well. Rhys Hoskins is starting to heat up, which is what you need from a vet like that. And then Jackson Cheerio again, 8 home runs, 28 RBIs, and he's hitting 250. Can't really ask for anything else from a guy who's 21 years old. So you hope. Think of that. The dude just became old enough to drink, and it's his second season in the majors. And he's hitting 250, which in today's MLB, so like when you and I grew up in the MLB, batting titles were being won at 330 averages.
Yeah.
Not so much. Like if a guy's hitting 280, 290, that's stellar. Like today's MLB is different. Now it's all about hitting the long ball and the analytics and all that garbage. So, but again, he's hitting 250. You can't really, in today's MLB, you can't really ask for much more. Sure, you would like him to hit 300, but again, he's 21 years old. He's just a raw goddamn talent. You just got to go let him do his thing, and he's doing his thing. So they're lacking a little bit. Like the Brewers are lacking star power, and they're lacking. I mean, it's hard to say that when Yelich and Contreras were all-stars last year, and then Frelick and Terang were platinum and gold glove winners. So it's interesting to say, but they're underperforming. They still have guys that are some role players that do the role playing very well. With some pretty good averages at 250, 200. It's tough to be a role player in the MLB. I think being a role player in the MLB is playing 1 or 2 days a week and trying to be productive. It's tough. It's tough to get into a groove. So, but we'll see. We haven't even hit June. We're about to hit June, and now usually the Brewers do well in June. I think through our lifetimes, it's either May or June. They have a really good month. So maybe they can heat up this month of June here and maybe close that gap a little bit, but then we also still have the All-Star break. You can't underestimate the power of the All-Star break with the Brewers making some moves, if they make any moves, because, well, as we've seen, they're a small town club, they're a small ball club, one of the smallest in the MLBs with the smallest TV rights, and they have to, instead of just getting rid of all their prospects, to bring in superstars for rental. They can't even bring in superstars for long term. They capitalize on the guys that have half a year left on their contract. The Brewers are starting to go away of that unless they have a really good feeling about the team. Like this team, like last year, the year before when they were winning the NL Central, you saw some moves being made, but not like the Jonathan Scope move, the Mike Moustakas move, the CC Sabathia move, where those guys were just superstars. So I don't think we'll see anything like that unless they absolutely catch fire, because again, this team puts a lot into their youth, and that's because they literally have to. If they just start trading away their farm, They don't have the payroll to get players back. So we'll see. If they do make a move, it'll be one move and that's it. They're done. They're not going to make 2 moves and get rid of 8 prospects or 2 moves and get rid of 6 prospects. So we shall see. Well, looking ahead in their schedule as well. They're playing the Red Sox right now. They got a big win against the Red Sox. And then they got, they got a gauntlet coming up here. They got to go to Philly. They go to Cincinnati. Those are games you got to get. Like playing at Cincinnati, that should be 2 out of 3. Then they come home to San Diego. That's not easy. And then home against Atlanta. That's not easy. And then they have back-to-back NL Central series against the Cardinals and the Cubs. They got a gauntlet, dude. So this could, I don't want to say make or break their season, because again, I've said it's a long season for the MLB. But when you hit the end of that Chicago series, it's June 19th. If you don't go at least 500, you might be in trouble. Like if they go winning, if they go above 500, fine, perfect, did some good. But if they go below 500, they could be in trouble. Like, and I mean serious trouble, because Chicago doesn't look like they're letting up. And then if you have a losing series against St. Louis, that separates second place and a wild card from you as well. So you'll see what they're made of in the upcoming 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 series that they got upcoming after this Boston series. Because, again, if they don't show out and get some results from there, their season could be in jeopardy by June 19th. I don't want to see a season in jeopardy that early. I would like to – it's always fun when the Brewers go into August and September a contender. So we shall see. It's going to make for some fun baseball, that's for sure. I love competitive baseball. There's nothing like it.
No, absolutely. Hopefully, go ahead and get it turned around. It's going to be real important that they go ahead and have a big record this June, because, like you said, it's do or die really at this point. And moving on, obviously over. We got a couple days, or a couple months, but we could definitely talk about it. Wisconsin Badger football, man. Schedule's out. We'll go ahead and just run through these real quick. Obviously, through weeks. 1 through, I think, what they play, 14, 15 games or whatever it is. But
Lord only knows how many games they actually play.
Man, for real. So they got Miami, Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like we're just going to continue to add on more games the way it's going for college sports.
Playing 17 games before we know it. Don't worry.
Right. Miami, Ohio is the first game. You got Middle Tennessee State. Then you are at Alabama. Then you go ahead and then you start. And then you start your Big Ten season. You got Maryland at home. Then you go to Michigan. Then you have Iowa at home. You got Ohio State at home. Then you go to Oregon. Then you go to Washington. Washington comes to Camp Randall. Yeah. Then they go to Indiana. They have Illinois at home. And then they go ahead and finish up at Minnesota. Sheesh. I mean, if you look at this, especially just everything going on right now, right? You got new offensive coordinator coming in. I mean, your stats last year, I got it up right here. You were 107th in points per game. You were 100th in passing yards. You were 78th in rushing yards. You were 130th in TDs. Your defense was 45th of total points given up. Passing yards, you were 14th, which is pretty good. In defense, you were 92nd. This is just not typical Badger football. This is not what we have seen. And we're seeing it, but this has got to change. And this is out of all the years that Luke Fickell thinks that his coaching got hard, this is the year. This is the year when you look at it, because he's got to turn this around quickly.
Year 1, Luke Fickell was literally separating the bad eggs from the good. What was good, what was bad. What was good, what was bad. They didn't have the personnel to run the air raid offense in year 1. You saw that. And then year 2, it was, okay, let's see what year 2 brings. Well, guess what? You had a really, really unfortunate circumstance where your transfer quarterback went down in game 3 when it looked where we didn't even see. I think we saw 6 plays of what they could have been, and it looked good. Like, they were driving down the field against Alabama. Now, where was I saying they were going to beat Alabama that game? Probably not. But they were driving down the field. They played South Dakota State, and I don't even know who else they played. Some other slack team. That was the most vanilla bullshit I ever seen out of them. Why? Because they knew they had Alabama coming up. They weren't gonna show their cards against Alabama. And then all of a sudden, Alabama came in and went, "What is this? We haven't seen any of this." And then 6 play, torn ACL to your transfer quarterback from Miami, and the whole season basically was shit from there. Okay. And then you had some silver linings. Yeah, you took Oregon to the brink, which I thank God I don't have a mortgage because I would have lost that mortgage bet. You had a couple other things, but then you just had stinkers. You got the shit kicked out of you at Iowa. You got the shit kicked out of you at Ohio State. And then I don't even know if they played Ohio State last year. I thought they did. Doesn't matter. Then you basically put a junior varsity team out there against Minnesota. And then, just from top to bottom, you got your ass kicked in Nebraska. It was just bad. So then you fire your offensive coordinator, which absolutely was the problem. Enough. I understand he wanted to modernize the game. Now he's tweaked it a little bit and brought in a spread offensive coordinator from Kansas, who was coordinator of the year, but also who likes to run the football more. And that's exactly what this Wisconsin offense is. And so then the question was, which has been the Achilles heel to a Wisconsin Badger team this whole time, who's the quarterback? Well, it's going to be Billy Edwards Jr., so it looks like he's been the most impressive guy in spring camp. And who is that guy? Well, he played for the Maryland Terrapins, actually. So I like the start of that because he's played Big Ten football. He just at least he's experienced it. Now, there has been transfers before that have played Big Ten and then they just don't end up being what they are. But he actually played. So, and with kids bouncing around because of NIL and all that, why do you leave Maryland? You don't know why they ever leave anymore because NIL is always there. So, the biggest question mark for Wisconsin is how is the quarterback play going to be? If the quarterback play is good, maybe the Badgers have. I just see an opportunity, especially with this schedule, man. I look at this schedule. You could win. You have Maryland at home. Anybody coming into Camp Brandel, you could win. You might as well forget about Alabama right now. Just roll Tide. Going to the Big House. Not happening. Iowa coming into Wisconsin. I think they'll be a little fired up for that game because they got absolutely embarrassed in Iowa last year. So I think they'll have a little red ass to them on that game. Ohio State at home. People are going to be jacked up. You just never know what happens. I hope to God that they beat Ohio State because why? I hate Ohio State. Everything about Ohio State. I hate driving through the state of Ohio as it is. Their tolls are horrible. So please beat the national champions in Camp Randall. Storm the damn field, plant a damn flag and let Jackson Sawyer, who's not even in the goddamn team anymore, but I hope he sees that. Plant a damn flag. I don't care. And then you go to Oregon. Yeah, it's going to be bad. Everyone's going to be shouting there. You make me want to shout. They're going to be shouting there because you're going to get your ass kicked. Washington was not very good at football last year. I don't think. If my memory serves me right. And they're coming into Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin has a chance at that. I don't even know what Indiana's going to look like. I mean, they looked pretty solid last year. Are they going to look solid again? I don't know. You go to Indiana, so maybe that's probably going to be a tough game. That might even be a loss. And then Illinois coming to Wisconsin, I think that should be a W. and then trying to go get the Axe back in Minnesota. The thing that is going to serve them well in these road games is how can they run the football? Is your quarterback good enough to open up the run game? Because, as we've seen in the past, is your run game good enough to open up for your average quarterback play? When they were running 22 personnel, too tight, under center with a fullback, is your running game good enough to where somebody can take a 7-step drop and hit a guy running over the middle because the linebackers got sucked in? Play action, you get a typical pro style offense. Now can your quarterback be effective enough to throw the ball where teams light in the box and then you can just run all over them? Because they're going to spread the ball out, which will help their numbers to run the ball. But what happens when they start bringing guys down into the box?
Right.
Can you go over the top of the box? So we'll see. Do you have the athletes on the outside to do that? I think we haven't gotten a sample size of them because, again, how many years have been really bad? So can Chris Brooks Jr. and Vinny Anthony II, who have looked very, very lethal at times, like they look athletic, can you get them the ball? You missed out on the kid from USC that transferred. You missed out on him. That could have been really, really good, but you fucked that up. Nice job. So we will see. Because this is where I think Luke Fickell is going to get hammered if he doesn't perform. People gave him a pass on the first season, and the second season he made a change, and that made people happy. The getting rid of the air raid offensive coordinator, Greg Schiano, I think his name was. Getting rid of him, really good idea, because that's just not what Wisconsin football was. And then you bring in a heavier run spread offense, because again, Luke Fickell just thinks that you can't win in college football running under center anymore because it's not the modern way. That was a head scratcher to me. Yes, a lot of the teams that are in the college football playoff, they're running spread offenses. But this is Wisconsin football, man. We were running spread offense, jet sweep under centers with average quarterbacks and just get the big uglies up front because college football doesn't know how to play ugly football anymore. Everybody wants to run the spread. Everybody wants to run the run and gun offense, read option, let the quarterback be an athlete. People don't want to be like, this dude is 330 pounds, standing 6'6" in front of me, and he wants to rip my head off, and he just keeps doing it. Nobody wants to wait. They're running power football. Who is this 285-pound fullback who's running at me, wanting to fucking deplete me? And then, oh, by the way, you have a 240-pound running back behind you. Good luck. Apparently, he thinks that's just not how you're going to win in college football. I beg to fucking differ, because guess what's happening in the NFL right now? People are starting to run the football. It didn't make sense to me, but you know what? That's why I'm sitting in this like $40 chair, and he's sitting making 2-point-something million, sitting in Madison right now, sitting in Camp Randall with the highest paid Wisconsin public employee there is. It just baffled me how he thought that you can't win going under center anymore. But again, I know nothing. I'm the guy sitting on a podcast talking about it, where he's actually out there making millions upon millions and doing it. So yeah, but he's gonna catch hell if he doesn't at least qualify. If he qualifies for a bowl game, and let's say he wins one of the trophies. So if he wins the Axe back, or he gets the Iowa traveling trophy back, or you know what, even if he doesn't get a trophy back, let's say he goes in the Big House and wins against Michigan, or he knocks off Ohio State, or he knocks off Oregon, and he gets bowl eligible and he has one signature win. God damn, I can't believe I'm about to say this. Or he goes into Alabama and the tide got rolled out of the damn stadium. He qualifies for a bowl, successful season. Because guess where you were 2 years for the past 2 years? Actually, in the past 3 years. It was bad football. So we'll see, but he's got to at least get bowl eligible. And even if that means he doesn't win a trophy or a signature win, he's got to win a trophy, or he's got to at least get to a bowl game. If he loses the bowl game, fine. But it's better than what you were last year, the year before that, so on and so forth.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see because it's like it's nut checking time. Like when I just think of the time that I was playing and things like that, like we had to have a good 2013 season because the previous season before they barely got into a bowl game at Michigan State. So this previous year was like do or fucking die. Guys were, are you even good enough to play? We got to find somebody else, and we went to have an unreal year for 2.5 years. But we shall see. I'm excited
the thing.
To see
like, they just had some really bad years. And the past 2 years have been really bad. And guess what? I am looking this up. The last time I looked this up, it was like I was like shocked. He's still bringing in names for recruiting. He's still pulling 4 or 5-star kids. Well, maybe not 5-star, but he's still pulling 4-star kids as a losing program. For the class of 2025, I don't know if this is still ongoing, but right now, he is 25th in the nation for recruiting class.
Yep.
I don't know if that counts with all your transfers with the transfer portal. 27 sports, they were 25th, 27th by 3. I don't know what that outlet is, and 31 by ESPN. And you're losing. They're not even winning. They got a 4 or 5-star recruit kid to flip him from Michigan to Wisconsin. Again, NIL has probably a big thing to do about it. And then they got a 4-star QB through all of this. It's just so I'm trying to find it. So they got an edge rusher from Gainesville, Florida, who flipped from Michigan to Wisconsin. They got a 4-star inside offensive lineman. Shocking. Wisconsin recruiting big uglies. What else is new? And then lots of 3 stars. And then they had another middle linebacker who was a 4-star recruit. They had a defensive lineman who was another 4-star recruit. They had another offensive tackle, 4-star recruit. Like, he is still pulling names. And then the transfers. 4-star kid out of high school, 3-star now. 4-star kid from LSU, from a defensive lineman. He came from LSU. Who's switching from LSU? Edge rusher from University of Kentucky. Another defensive lineman from Georgia. Wide receiver, 4-star. This is all here on Badger 247. 21 transfers in. Ready to play now. Oh, and he got a 4-star tight end. Good God damn. Like, this is all from losing seasons. Imagine if he starts winning. If he starts winning, those 4s turn into 5s, and with the college football playoff expanding, they're going to get into a playoff. I mean, it's 12 now, but when they go 16, they will be going 16. They're going to get names, and then the money's going to come in, and then you're going to get more names. So, and then next thing you know, you're competing with Oregon, Ohio State for Big Ten championships, Michigan for Big Ten championships. So right back to where it used to be. So this is a nut up time where, especially for the transfers, like, we have expectations. Even like, it's not even like we have to win Big Ten championships. We got to win. Like, we got to get to a bowl game. We got to win some of these big games. Ohio State's coming into town. We got to win. We got to go on the road and beat a team on the road. So it's going to be an interesting third year, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on Luke Fickell. And we'll see. I feel like he's one of those guys that loves the pressure. So we'll see how he responds and gets his team ready to play, because looking at all those transfers and all these commits and how he's still turning the program around even though he's losing, there's still there's still going to be pressure, but we'll see how he responds to this. I'm kind of excited about it, but at the same time, we've been excited for the past 2 years with Luke Fickell, and we've kind of seen shit on the field. So it all starts with the quarterback. We'll see if they can get some draft picks out of this, because Wisconsin didn't have very good draft picks this year. I think their highest draft pick was maybe a 5th rounder. So we'll see. A lot of football's coming yet. Still in August. The football's around the corner. It'll be here hopefully quickly, but we're about to enter some dog days here, folks.
I know we are. I'm gonna have to go ahead and check them out. I'm gonna have to go give a
Yeah,
call to some
we can
people
go
I
down to
know to see
Wando's and get a Fitch Bowl or so. You know, we can
go ahead, go
get her
down
going,
there and
huh?
maybe
Wear your
have
green,
have
talk
a
some
time.
shit.
Might have a time. I'll go in there neutral.
Mhm.
Go see if Tressel can go ahead and I'll go watch
we're-
practice,
we're-
see what type of talent they got.
It's a business trip. That's what it is.
Always. Moving
Yes,
away,
sir.
obviously, from the great state of Wisconsin, sports-wise, we obviously called this the Jim Bob Cooter segment. We're going to talk about PGA. Mr. Ben Griffin going ahead and winning the Charles Schwab Challenge, played unreal, minus 12 for his final round total, plus 1 for the 4th round. I mean, he was hitting shots all day. He did what he needed to do. Scotty Scheffler finished top 4. Fleetwood finished top 4. It's good to see U.S. guys winning, man.
Yep. Robert McIntyre, is a Scottish guy, but plays for the European side, played really well, minus 7. JJ Spawn, I don't want him anywhere near the Ryder Cup team, but he had a 6th finish. Ricky Fowler with a top 20 finish. Gary Woodland with a top 20 finish. Andrew Novak with a top 20 finish. Like, some of these guys who are on that cut line for the Ryder Cup team played really well this past weekend. So we'll see what they do, but we got a big one coming up. We're not going to talk about it today, but we got the big one coming up that we've kind of teased on Father's Day with the U.S. Open at Oakmont. And that's where the boys are going to be either made men, or it's going to prove who's for real and who's not for real. So that's just a little teaser. We'll talk about that when the time comes closer. Because honestly, this U.S. Open is gonna be, besides the Masters. We can't say what's your favorite tournament of the year, because it's always the Masters. I mean, the Masters is the Masters. It's always either the U.S. Open, PGA Championship, or the Open, which is over across the pond in Europe somewhere. It will easily Quail Hollow kind of didn't disappoint, but it didn't play like how everyone thought it was going to play. So that was kind of a little bit of a letdown in my mind. I mean, and yes, watching the genius of what was Scotty Scheffler was fun, but when you lap the field, some people we didn't mind watching Tiger do it, but it does take viewers away from it. It does kind of take a little bit out of it. But this U.S. Open is where boys will either become men or boys will be cut. And the men are going to have to keep their lids on and play like men in order to make a top 10 finish or potentially even win. No room for error in that tournament. But again, we'll talk about that when it gets here. It is over Father's Day weekend, which is I always love it that the dads can enjoy their weekend of golf in one of the toughest tournaments in the world at the U.S. Open. And this year, not a very easy course at Oakmont. But again, we'll break that down when the time comes. Switching up a little bit here. We got some.
Yeah, you got some you want to add on, huh?
I myself am a movie buff.
Get to know Jim Bob Cooter.
Oh, I am a big movie buff. I just saw, yes, I'm not going to be shocked about this. I did just see Lilo and Stitch over the weekend. Yes, you heard that correctly. Again, this was a movie of our childhood, but there is some great movies that, again, Jim Bob Cooter is anticipating and very excited to come out with. Number one, not for me anyway, but Jurassic World. Hopefully, I'm telling you, I love the Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah.
you got to lighten up now. Like you came back with it. It was really good. And now I think you're kind of going a little too far. But what do I know? Mission Impossible just came out this past weekend. I am 4 movies behind that. That's another one where I'm like, oh my God, another one. I watched the first 3 this past year. I was kind of getting a little burnt out of it, so I took a break. Maybe I'll have to hop on that train again, but I've heard the more you watch them, like the deeper you go into the series, it's better. It gets better. So I'm like, okay, well, we have to suffer first before we get to some good ones, but they're not bad movies. Karate Kid's Legends, that's just more of a nostalgic movie if you love the Karate Kids back in the day. Jackie Chan, Ralph Macchio teaming up for the first time. That should be good.
Excuse me.
This one. Ballerina. You don't know what it is? If you're a John Wick fan, you're going to love this movie. Annie de Armas, who is just beautiful. In the John Wick universe, and yes, John Wick does make an appearance. So if you're an action guy, go watch yourself Ballerina. It comes out 2 weeks, June 6th. How to Train Your Dragon live action. We'll see how that goes. I love the How to Train Your Dragon movies. Those are animated, along with a couple others. Superman is being released. I am so scared.
Yeah, how do you feel about that one? Do you think that's going to be even worth anything? I hope it is, because that's so hard to not be a good movie.
I'm such a stickler. Cavill was the perfect Superman. He was the perfect Superman, and the fact that him and DC didn't get along, because when he came back in Black Adam, sorry for spoiler alerts, when he came back in Black Adam, I was like, I was out of my seat. It was amazing. And then 3 days later, it came out, oh, by the way, he's not renewing his contract with DC. I'm like, why? You just totally killed everything. So it is James Gunn. James Gunn did a lot of Marvel movies before he got removed from Marvel. So impressive director. I think it'll be good. I hope it's good. I don't want to be disappointed because I think the DC universe is so interesting. But we'll see. In a universe that's controlled by Marvel, DC is always the shadow, but they're really trying hard to get out of it. Speaking of Marvel, the Fantastic Four. I don't know how I feel about this one. I wasn't never really a huge Fantastic Four guy in the Marvel universe, but I'm going to watch it, and we're going to hope it's good. It looks to be good. It's probably the most anticipated one of the summer. If you're an old head who watched old movies like myself did, The Naked Gun. You're a Leslie Nielsen fan, for anybody who is an old timer.
Really, they're coming out with something?
They are remaking it.
Wow.
Liam Neeson as the son of Leslie Nielsen. So that will be. I saw the trailer for that. I was laughing. I'm like, all right, you got me. I'll go. A Freakier Friday, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan making their return to the screen. That was a really good movie back in the day. Like when that came out, I was like, oh my God. It was just such a hilarious movie. Jamie Lee Curtis is hilarious. And then you got some other ones. The Conjuring, if you're a horror movie fan, ends its series with its final movie. Also, Sinners came out with Michael B. Jordan. I need to see that. Sinners with Michael B. Jordan.
I've heard a lot of good things about that.
I might have to go with Haley Steinfeld, which again, beautiful. I'm Josh Allen's wife. And then there's some other winter movies, which I'll catch up with y'all later on when we get into the fall and winter, because summer and winter movies, man, when it gets cold up here, and we have nothing else better to do than this. We got to do something, and that's my haven. Is I go to the movies or I bowl because I'm a nerd. We'll catch up on the flip side. I will, if you follow me on Twitter. I usually do kind of give some very, 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 very brief reviews, as in like when I saw Thunderbolts, which is a Marvel movie. Thunderbolts, just a setup movie, not missing much. that was my review of it. It was fun. It was funny. Made me laugh. You know, it was a really good feel-good movie, but it was just like, oh, well, this is just a setup movie. You're not missing anything big and huge on it. So if you do follow me on Twitter, I do give out, again, very, very short reviews. I don't go in depth. I'm not a writer. I just give, and I don't like to spoil things, even though I did just spoil Black Adam. But again, it's all for naught now, because guess what? Henry Cavill, not in it.
Right.
By the way, spoiler alert. So I give brief reviews that don't spoil anything to either turn you on to the movie and go, maybe I will take a rainy day and go to the movies. Or be like, oh, I wanted to see that. Well, that review is not very good. So I'm a big movie buff. I did work at Family Video in a past life. So movies were my life at one point. And I just think there's very few things when I walk into a movie theater and smell that movie theater popcorn. I'm like, God damn it. So movie theater popcorn is one of the great pleasures in life. And y'all can, I think there's no better popcorn out there than movie theater popcorn. Y'all can fight me on it. So, but that's what I'm talking about. And again, we got a long summer to go with golf. Yet again, your boy and I are back up into the top 10.
Hey, we plan on staying there too. Shout out to the partner.
We plan on staying there. So we got a great summer coming up here, but we are going to head into what I like to call purgatory, where there's just baseball. Basketball's coming down to it. Indiana 2-1 over the Knicks. Where I'm telling you right now, OKC just looks suffocating. They
might win it all.
They look like the best team there. Like, you can say what you want about SGA. I think Minnesota played one of their best games, and they still lost. So that defense, like, if you look at how Indiana and New York play, put them up against a defense like OKC, and it's like, God damn, that's not going to end. That may not be the same. So OKC's definitely got the best defense, and their offensive efficiency looks really, really good. So I'm calling it right now. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder are probably going to be your NBA champions.
And I wouldn't mind that. That'd be good.
I wouldn't mind it either. That's a small market team winning. But for some reason, Milwaukee gets shit on for being a small market. But, everybody loves OKC. So I don't want to get into it. I just can't. We're at the end of it. I don't want to have this be a 2-hour episode of me screaming at the world of sports networks, telling them to get off Giannis's back.
That's just kind of where we're at when it comes to Wisconsin sports. But with that, my good people, you guys have a great week, great weekend. Have a great week, great weekend. Jimmy, it's always a pleasure. Got a big week. But people will know about it. You guys have a good one. Be a good person. We'll see you guys later. Peace out.